talked about several things such as playing with the dogs, giving them better rewards and marker cues. And I want to go into the next few modes discussing about basic communication with our dogs. This is how we are cueing them that we're going from one obstacle to the next on course. And that communication falls into three basic categories. All right. So I'm going to give you a few moments to think if you can come up with what those categories might be. You can put me on pause and think about it and write it down and see how close you are. All right, we're going to move on in 3, 2, 1. The first one is verbal cues. All right. What we tell the dogs to do with our voices: jump, tunnel, climb, weave, all of those different words to us mean we want the dogs to do those obstacles, right? Verbal cues are something that becomes very natural to humans. We talk to each other to tell each other what we want. Or what we're going to do. Dogs, that's not really necessarily how they communicate. It's not their first form of communication. They can't say spoken words like we can. So verbals are natural for us, but something that dogs have to learn. The next mode, which is a little bit more common for the dogs to understand, are body cues. All right, body cues can be anything from where our feet are pointing to where our eyes are looking to what our arms are cueing. All right, body cues are something dogs read a little bit more of. They do things like play bow, they wag their tail. Those are all body cues. And so we don't have a tail to wag, but we can smile, right? It's essentially the same thing. So body cues are another way that we communicate to the dogs. And then the third one, which is really what the dogs read most of, are motion cues. Motion cues are when we're moving. When we move forward, we want our dogs to move forward. If we move away from the dogs, it should pull them towards us. If we move into the dogs, it should push them away from us. If we slow down and stop our motion, the dog should also slow down and stop. So motion and body cues, these are the two modes that the dogs read the most from us. And then verbal cues come a distant third to the dogs, unless it's something we very specifically train to them. So when we're talking about communicating with the dogs and asking them to do simple things like come into us and send off of us or go take a jump, for example, we need to think about how these different cues, modes, verbal, body, and motion cues, kind of work together to give the dogs a clear picture of what we're asking them to do.